On the evening of August 29th, 2014, Deshaun Johnson's front door was broken down by an LAPD squad wielding a battering ram and an arrest warrant for the West Adams home. LAPD proceeded to remove Deshaun and his brother from the home, and after breaking in several other doors, police ransacked the property. While gaining the attention of local news outlets, LAPD search tactics were nothing new to the residents of West Adams. One need only look at the welcome 23rd Olympiad mural emblazoned on the gymnasium wall of the Rancho Cienega Recreation Center to begin tracing the origins of police militarization in Los Angeles, of racial profiling and unlawful arrests. An assessment of the 1984 Olympics unearths the borders that separate those allowed to participate in the local global sports phenomena and those intentionally excluded. An analysis of the 1984 Olympics reveals the potential contestations that future investment may bring to a rapidly changing neighborhood. After winning the Olympic bid in the late 1970s, Los Angeles rallied to set a stage that would draw global attention. With Russia boycotting the Olympics, President Reagan saw the LA Olympic bid as a way of showcasing U.S. superiority, and with Peter Ueberroth at the helm, depicting Los Angeles as a city the world wanted to emulate, was of paramount importance. Preparations for the '84 Olympics included a series of changes within the city. Among some of the most positive and notable changes can be seen around the Rancho Cienega Recreation Center. Built in 1938, the center's track was renovated as part of the Olympics Facilities Improvements Program. In 1983, Santa Barbara Avenue, at the behest of local businessman Sealy's King III, was renamed to commemorate Dr. Martin Luther King and showcase the neighborhood's involvement in civil rights advocacy on the Olympic stage. Finally, a mural welcoming Olympic athletes was painted on the south-facing wall of the gym and would be visible to the marathon runners who were to run down Rodeo Road on their way to the Coliseum. The 1984 Olympics would be one of the most historic games. More profitable than any games ever held, it would mark the debut of the women's marathon.
And 34 seconds precisely for Benoit.
That's right. In the last mile, Greta Weitz made up 4 seconds on Joan Benoit, and Greta is now in full flight. She looks as she has in her past New York marathons where she is in full flight. I would say this, that they will both be on the track for that last 400 meters together. It's going to be that close.
She just passed La Brea Avenue down Rodeo Drive, which will turn into Exposition Boulevard shortly. Greta Weitz in second place. That was a pack of 6 not long ago, and then they started.
Set the stage for a Mexican-American athlete to win Olympic gold in boxing for the first time, and see a group of African-American men and women, some from the very communities surrounding the center, win a record number of medals for their country. The games would net a nearly $250 million surplus, $93 million of which provided seed funding for the founding of the LA '84 Foundation in West Adams in 1985, an organization that has since funded youth sports programs and facilities throughout the region. Despite their overwhelming praise for the games, a darker history emerges as one parses through the legacies left behind by the organizers of the games. Of key concern to law enforcement, for example, was the surge of gangs prior to and since the games. Just a few hundred feet away from Rancho Cienega Recreation Center, Dorsey High School was the site where T. Rogers had begun recruiting young men from the jungles of Baldwin Hills to form the infamous Bloods gang in the late 1970s. Attempts to erase the presence of violence for the purpose of the games directly and specifically impacted the neighborhood surrounding the recreation center. For many, the distinctive sound of police helicopter rotor blades is cited as the sound of the games.
Determined to remove the presence of street gangs before and after the Olympic Games, Police Chief Daryl Gates employed targeted racial tactics against entire swaths of South LA residents. From 1984 to 1989, arrests without convictions went through the roof, while there was a 33% increase in citizen complaints against police brutality. In some, 1,400 officers were investigated on suspicion of using excessive force, but less than 1% were ever prosecuted. Effectively, the LAPD managed to remove a large number of Latino and Black youth prior to the Olympics. Black community leaders and politicians sided with the police, hoping that perhaps a temporary suspension of civil rights would lead to a decrease in violence. Regardless of the exponential growth in funding and the militarization of police in the mid-1980s, no decrease in violence ever came, and the legacy of the 1984 Olympics is clearly seen not only in the sports programs and renovation projects throughout the city, but also in the funding of military-style equipment for local police, such as the famed battering ram and the employment of gang injunctions and curfew zones meant to keep youth of color prisoners in their own communities. Subsequent to the Olympics, the LAPD continued to overstep its bounds. Perhaps one of the most striking examples is the raid in West Adams on the corner of 39th and Dalton on August 1st, 1988. The LAPD conducted a violent search of several apartment buildings as a show of force to the community. They smashed furniture, defaced and punched holes in walls, and humiliated and beat dozens of residents. The property damage was so great that the Red Cross offered assistance to the 10 adults and 12 minors that were left homeless. For years to come, this became the order of the day. The nature of Rancho Cienega's Olympic welcome sign belies the trauma endured by the community as a result of a televised games. While some citizens have taken advantage of the programs established by the Olympic surplus, in 1998, City Council voted to rename the Rancho Cienega pool in honor of Silas King III. Venus and Serena Williams began playing tennis through a program launched with LA84 funds, and LA84 co-sponsored the Dodgers Dream Fields at Rancho Cienega. Questions remain as to the real beneficiaries of the Games. Further studies into the effects of the Olympics in Beijing, Mexico, and Brazil have shown that mass incarcerations, minority populations, and civil rights violations are part and parcel of the Games and help establish law enforcement protocols for years to come. As the 2028 Olympics loom on the horizon, plans to renovate Rancho Cienega have emerged. Millions of dollars will be poured into the city to make LA presentable to the world once again. The bordering fence between the Jackie Robinson Jr. Field and Rodeo Road is papered with advertisements for sports programs benefiting the community of West Adams, flyers promoting the Venus and Serena Tennis Academy, and banners beckoning aspiring athletes to join football teams. The dream of athletic glory is still very much alive in the park-poor West Adams community, but will shifting neighborhood borders limit who can reap the rewards of the upcoming investment in Rancho Cienega? Has the community learned from the 1984 Olympics, or will we once again see an escalation to police action and the subsequent funneling of youth into the criminal system?